UFC 319 predictions and betting breakdowns. I'm going to go through the main card of the UFC 319 pay per view, let you know what your best bets are and who I think is going to win. Starting with the first fight on the prelim, we had Tim Elliott taking on Kai Asakura in the flyweight division. And I'm going to keep this one relatively quick and easy. I got Kai Asakura winning this one, and I think he's going to do it comfortably. He's at minus 300 favorite, I believe. And Kai Asakura to win by KO is sitting at plus 160 odds. So that is the bet we are going to take, and we're going to take Kai Asakura to win. Even though most people look as an excuse, I do think him talking about how going from the ring that he used when he fought in Japan and then coming into the cage in the UFC, I think there is a difference just as far as controlling the ring, the angles, getting used to it, plus the UFC jitters, getting Pantoja in your first UFC fight. I think that is gone. He's used to it. I think, and Tim Elliott's kind of on the downswing. We're going to take Kai Asakura to win by KO. Moving up the card, we got Michael Venom Page taking on Jared Cannonier. And surprisingly, Michael Page is about a minus 100 or so favorite, I believe, maybe minus 200. Jared Cannonier is ranked. He is really good. He's a killer. He hits like a horse. What I think is really interesting about this one is I think he is going to come forward. A lot of people are picking an MVP to win. They think it's going to be by decision. They think he's going to control it. I think this fight's not going to go the distance. I think either Michael Page is going to catch and come in, or Jared Cannonier is going to corner him and crack him. Either way, I'm looking. It's over. The over under set at 2.5 rounds. We're gonna take the under at plus 175. It's a little bit of a long shot. Chances are MVP controls the cage, avoids getting hit, and then just cruises to a very lackluster and boring decision. But I've it's one of those where it feels like everyone's leaning that way. That's when it goes the opposite way, and maybe MVP lands one of those devastating flying knees, spinning kicks, things that he was doing in Bellator, or Cannonier cuts him off and just drops nukes on him. Either way, I can see this one getting over maybe in the second round. So we're gonna go under 2.5 rounds. The only thing that worries me is if Cannonier focuses too much on trying to be technical, like sometimes he tries to get very, very technically sound. The one, two, three he doesn't let it flow as much. He doesn't get as aggressive. He tries to be almost paralysis by analysis is what it kind of feels like. Sometimes he doesn't just go after it. I think that will hurt him because he'll end up basically just standing in front of MVP. But he goes out there and tries to crack him and tries to win her, tries to take his head off. That one of these guys is going to get the win by KO. So we're going to go under 2.5 rounds. We're going to take a little bit of a long shot, quote unquote, on this one. Next up, we got Jeff Neal versus Carlos Pratas. Carlos Pratas is a pretty comfortable favorite, and I do think he is going to win. We're going to say this fight does not go the distance, though, at minus 160. Carlos Pratas, with the exception of that last fight against Ian Gary, he had not seen a judge's scorecard since 2019. He hadn't lost since earlier in 2019, that same year. So this fight, when he's involved in a fight, it usually almost, especially in the last 6 years, it ends via KO, usually with him getting the KO. So you can also bet him to win by KO, but there's a chance Jeff Neal can crack. So there's a chance he cracks him coming in. So we're just going to say this fight does not go the distance at minus 160. One of these two is going down. I do think it will be Carlos Pratas. So he's my pick to win. Next up, we got Larone Murphy taking on UFC newcomer Aaron Pico. Those who know, they remember Aaron Pico was the quote unquote next big thing outside the UFC. He was supposed to be an absolute killer prospect on the rise. Had some stumbles. He has a highlight reel KO, but then he has a highlight reel of getting KO'd, unfortunately. He's bounced back since then. He's really rounded out his game. He's a much more technically sound puncher, still a heavy striker, really good wrestler. What is surprising is that in his UFC debut, he was, I think, a minus like 180 or minus 200 favorite as well over Larone Murphy, who's undefeated, 16-0, coming off a main event win. Larone Murphy is, for lack of better terms, he's kind of boring. At featherweight, he moves a lot. He's very hard to hit. He's has a lot of Leon Edwards type skill set as far as very technically sound, just without the head kick over Kamaru Usman. Really, he's got a lot of Leon Edwards in his game. Very technically sound, but very, very good, and he's an underdog. So we're gonna take him a plus 145 underdog as well. Once again, a UFC debut for Aaron Pico. Similar we talked about with Kai Asakura, he went against Alexander Pantoja in his debut. There's something to it. I don't think Aaron Pico is gonna pull a Michael Chandler, who got one over on Dan Hooker, who's very hittable because he likes to scrap. He likes to brawl. It's not always the most technically sound. It's all very he can be very hittable despite his length, especially at that time. He likes to get in a slugfest. Larone Murphy is not going to do that. We saw what he did to Josh Emmett, who is a true power puncher as well. He's going to control the ring. It's probably gonna be kind of boring. It's probably gonna be a 3-round comfortable decision. I expect Larone Murphy to, for lack of better terms, dance all around. Now we're going to the main event where Dricus du Plessis, undefeated in the UFC 9-0 champion versus Khamzat Chimaev, 8-0 in the UFC, 14-0 overall. Dricus is a plus 200 underdog as the champion. I know Khamzat has been an absolute destroyer. I know he's been a menace. I know he's been the next coming. He just came off of breaking what was left of Robert Whitaker's teeth. I think we forget, like, we are all obsessed with how goofy Dricus looks. We talk about how he looks like somebody slipping on a banana peel, but fighting. Or like if we're playing Mario Kart, someone throws the turtles out when the car spins out, that's what everything Dricus does kinda looks like. But it always results in wins and more often than not finishes too. Or very comfortable decisions like what we saw in that second Sean Strickland fight where he controlled the entire thing pillar to post. Khamzat, he had a very tough fight with Gilbert Burns and a very tough fight with Kamaru Usman, both welterweights. Kamaru Usman on really short notice too. Gilbert Burns even sat him down in that 3rd round. I I'm not saying that I think that's a huge deal because Kamaru Usman's awesome, Gilbert Burns is awesome, but they are smaller guys. Dricus is not going to be smaller. Despite what random camera angles you see, they're gonna be relatively similar in size. Dricus is going to be more muscular, more filled out. He's not making 170. Granted, Khamzat barely made 170 a couple of times, but Drake is gonna be bigger. He's going to be able to match Khamzat's physicality, and I do his ability to grapple. I don't think he's gonna be scared of these grappling situations. He's going to be able to handle them well. He is a good grappler in his own right. And standing on the feet, he's very, very unusual to deal with. I'm curious how Khamzat's defense is going to match that. I feel like when you get Dricus at plus 200 odds, this feels like when Marab and Umar were kind of similar odds, actually. I believe Marab was a plus 200 odds earlier this year with Umar's a minus 2 something favorite. Sometimes you overhype up the new guy coming up before and you forget how established the champion is. I think we're forgetting just how good DDP really is here. He's good on the feet, awkward, weird looking, but effective. Good on the ground, awkward, weird looking, but strong and powerful and effective. Khamzat's hitting he's going to shoot from the middle of the cage. Like, he dives for ankles and then climbs up. He has a very hard takedown to defend because it's so low to the ground. You can't even really knee him in the face a la George Masvidal because he shoots the ground's right here. He's shooting, like, this high above the ground. It's a very un I feel like that beard is just for, like, is a measurement stickler. As long as my beard touches the ground, that's where my shooting height is. But I'm still gonna take DDP to win this one with plus 200 odds. That's a really hard fight to that's a hard one to turn down if you're gonna give me plus 200 odds for a defending champion who has Sean Strickland, Robert Whitaker as well, and Israel Adesanya on his resume. He's got a really good resume. He's shown it against the best in middleweight. He's gonna be the bigger man in there, I believe, too. I think Hamzat's he's had a major physicality advantage over everyone he's fought, but so has Dricus, and I think Dricus is going to have the physical advantage here. I think he's going to survive round 1. Khamzat will probably win round 1, come out like a berserker. Then Dricus is going to start pouring it on as well. He has shown the ability to, over rounds, continue. It's like each round is its own individual fight, and he completely manages to recuperate in that 1 minute. We've seen Khamzat anytime he's been outside of round 1 slow down a little bit. Hasn't been quite the same destroyer. He's not the same, "I'm gonna go get him, brother," guy. So go ahead and give me DDP to win this one, and I think we're gonna take the money line. I think there's a good chance he finishes the fight if he does win. But we're gonna just say we're gonna take that plus 200 money line for a defending world champion. That feels very hard to turn down. But let us know down in the comments below who you think is going to win each of these fights and what your favorite bets are. We have a about a 68-70% winning percentage on these UFC main card pay-per-view bets throughout the year. Hopefully we continue to pile on them. Maybe get a 5-0 week this week, which would be at 84. These are about 8,500 odds. So if you decide to randomly throw $5 on this one and you got them all right, you're looking at about 420 for a win. But we appreciate y'all for joining us. We'll see you all again next time.